Welcome back to Dork Points, everybody. This is Ron, and tonight it's another PS Extra binge. That's right, all the games I have played for free recently on PS Extra, starting with Days Gone. This is kind of, what's the word? A look back, a retrospective. I finally beat it. It looks like a AAA game. It kind of plays like a AAA game, but I don't like the map system. I've said that in other videos. Sometimes your missions just disappear. You complete one big mission, and then you have to look through the map to find the next one, which is annoying. And then other times, side missions will just stay on the map. And if you go back to them, you're just replaying the same mission over and over again. I know older games have done that, but it's confusing because they only do it once, and it's a really hardcore zombie fighting mission, and it's pretty unpleasant. Now, other than that, I like it. It's good. But by the end of the game, if I'm honest, and maybe spoilers here if you care, so be aware, but basically, the first half of the game is like a normal game. There's big mutant bosses and stuff, and bad guys you gotta defeat. And then the last half of the game, it's like it was padded, or they just didn't have the team to do the depth they wanted, because the last half of the game is just all the boss fights are horde fights, which is just hundreds of zombies running at you. Now I was able to get through the one you're watching right now because it's in a cave and you can kind of maneuver, and I did beat the first one, but by the time I got to the third one, I just got tired of it. And actually what I did there is I just waited around, and then at some point the zombies didn't spawn, and I just cheesed it. But then there are 3 more horde fights after that before the end of the game, all within like probably the last 12 hours of gameplay, and it's just ridiculous. And they give you the option to skip, so I skipped them. And yeah, so I guess, did I beat the game? I don't know. I played it all the way through. I got tired of these hordes. Story, character, great, gameplay great again. But there is some things dragging this down. It's just missing some pieces, unfortunately. Alright, moving on to Shadowrun Returns. Now, let me say, first and foremost, these are just not my style of games. So I'm just not gonna play more than a little bit of them. I'm gonna check it out and be like, oh, it's a strategic XCOM style game. However, they do it right here. It's simplified for a person like me enough to, at least at the beginning, enough to enjoy it and get pleasure out of it and keep playing it for at least a couple hours. Also, the story is very interesting. Your dead friend sends you a letter and says, I'm dead by now, and you need to check out my murder and what happened. So interesting, but, just not going to play it. All right, moving on to Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the game. I wanted to play this game. I like this style of game. It's like a Super Nintendo throwback, Streets of Rage love letter. It's got the Scott Pilgrim stuff too. It should be great. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I cannot beat the first level. I can't get through it by myself. So I need to play it local multiplayer, maybe with my daughter, or play it online with a friend, but I cannot beat it on my own. And I don't know if I'm just not taking advantage of power-ups or special moves, or if I'm doing something wrong, but the game's not exactly telling me. I don't think there's a tutorial, is there? But let me know in the comments if there's some easy fix for this. Yeah, I can't get through the first level, and then when you die, it boots you back out, and you gotta start it all over again. Alright, moving on to Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, the Definitive Edition. Yes, it's the Definitive Edition, and just like Vice City, the, quote, Definitive Edition, even though they've made a lot of changes and tried to make them better, things like that happen. Yeah, that cop just killed me with a billy club through a brick wall. Just like in Vice City, even though they had done a lot of updates and made it a little better, it's still wonky. It's wonky, that's the word. And the characters themselves look weird and wonky, it's just just the character modeling is odd. So I loved this game. I never got to beat it. I got close to the end, but I never got to beat it originally, so I would like to play it again, but this is, I don't know. We'll see. All right, moving on to Police Simulator Patrol Officers. Now, me and Jake did a video about this, and it was kind of a fun thing. I did not realize that it was gonna be like Goat Simulator level. I mean, okay, it's not that crazy. That's almost purposeful, but it's a level of jankitude that I did not expect. I thought this was gonna be like, you know, there's two kinds of simulators. There's the, you know, we're going to do this right, simulation, almost boring, but by the number, you know, perfect simulation of the thing. Or it's like Surgeon Simulator, where it's total trash and garbage. And this kind of falls into that weird ground. Look at that guy twisting around, and characters just walk through things, and you can walk through cars, and I do not think, however, that this was on purpose, that they were purposefully trying to make a bad game. But there's enough badness here to kind of question it. So I'm not sure. And again, Jake and I, we played it in co-op, and there's no hints, there's no tutorial when you play it in co-op. That's dumb. All right, moving on to Star Trek Bridge Crew. Speaking of dumb, I wanted to love this game. This game, it's not dumb. It's the opposite. It's like, it's so complicated in the tutorial training menu that I got to a point where I needed to look up a walkthrough on how to get through the last leg of the tutorial. And I just thought to myself, okay, if I need that to just get through the tutorial, am I even going to play this game? Am I even going to enjoy this game? Why torture yourself? And so here I am, firing a phaser into space, not knowing what to do, and that's the last time I played it. All right. And now, Lonely Mountains Downhill. Yes, let's take a breath, relax. Yeah, just you know, have a peaceful time. It's Lonely Mountains, and we're just gonna have a peaceful time going down the hill. Certainly not gonna raise our blood pressure or make us want to punch the TV screen. It's just a fun time, dying over and over again. Yeah. Okay. So, sorry for that. It's hard, man. I want to like this game. It's just the controls. The controls, they're not bad. They're just weird and different. And so it's like a great game with very different and strange controls. But it's, you know, it's also a simple game. This is what you're doing. So, bleh. Right. No More Heroes 3. Yes, here we go. I was so excited to play this. It looks cool. Alright, I'm going to be quiet for a second.
Hey, what a shitty town. What could possibly even be here? Like, what?
So, like I said, I was very excited to play one of these games, whether it's 1, 2, or 3. I've heard them mentioned in many different video game YouTubers' videos, and they looked like a lot of fun. And I have to tell you, like, right off the bat, it's almost overwhelming. Like, the movie starts with like a Golden Axe style video game, and then there's an anime sequence, kind of like in Persona, where they switch from the game to like real, actual, like, animated anime. I know that sounds dumb, but you know what I mean. And yeah, there's just so much on the surface, like, coming at you, but unfortunately, that's where it ends. That's where the charm kind of peters out, because then it goes to this, and you're kind of in this cheap looking and feeling open world that reminds me of a PlayStation 2 game. It does not feel next gen. Maybe PS3 at the most recent. And there's collectibles, and you fix toilets, and there's some charming stuff in there. But sadly, like, the game is kind of shallow in a weird way, because and you know, maybe that's just the fault of the game presenting itself as all this stuff right up front, and then it just goes into the open world. But look at this cool boss fight. You go into kind of a Voltron style mech robot suit, and you can for the last phase of the boss fights, which is really cool. There's so many little things here, and it's clearly made with love, and there is a good sense of humor. But like I said, you know, in the end, there's the cheap open world, and then it's like, go to a fight, fight the guy, kill him, go to the next fight, fight the guy, kill him, do 3 or 4 of those, 5 of those, and then go to the boss and kill him, and there you go. Alright, moving on to Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII! And this is kind of the treasure nugget. I would say this is probably my favorite of all the games I have played recently. But it's Final Fantasy VII. So let me just say straight off the bat that the combat is great, the game looks great, the story is interesting, of course. But also, the story is bananas and totally confusing. And you're like, who is this character? And, you know, I played the first part of the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and then after that I played the entire original Final Fantasy VII, just like, I don't know, 6 or 9 months ago, and I was still left scratching my head, playing this game, like, all the way through, going, now, is this person important? You know, I recognize, you know, Cloud and Tifa and all the major characters, but, you're just a little confused, and it's not a minus. Like, I enjoyed my time with it, and like all Final Fantasy games, wait for it, wing, yeah, they're weird as hell, and you just kind of expect that, and that's the charm of these games, I think. So, you know. Oh, this is a really funny part, too, by the way. You come to this hotel, and there is an answer machine that has, like, 99 messages on it. A lot of messages on it. Maybe not 99, but it's all people complaining about the hotel that burnt down. And it's just really weird. So, yeah, in the end, of course, I loved it. I got a little sad, too, a little downtrodden. I won't say anything, but anyway. Alright, moving on to Cult of the Lamb. And this is the last game of the night that you can still play for free on PS Extra right now. There are more games coming up, though, with an asterisk. But Link to the Past, I know I say that. I know there's been 9 billion games since Link to the Past. But every time I start a game and this is the opening of it, I go, oh, it's Link to the Past. Okay, cool. But this game has a lot more, well, not a lot more, it's got a lot going for it, and a lot going on. You know, there's world building here. There's the hack and slash part, Link to the Past, but then you have your cult, you pray to them, that gives you a bonus, that gives you a power-up, that gives you, what is this, Knight of the Devout One? Different special powers, and also places, buildings that you can upgrade and build and create, and so then it almost kind of becomes like Spiritfarer. Weirdly, it's, yeah, you're building this world with these cult guys. I don't know. I like it. I just like it. Play it. Okay. Now, speaking of Spiritfarer, and like I said, there are more games on this list because 3 of the games I wanted to play have left PS Extra, unfortunately, and I mentioned them in the last Leaving Soon video. So let's talk about them, starting with, of course, Spiritfarer. Wow, man. I still, like, look at this, first of all. Catching lightning in a bottle, this really smooth Don Bluth almost animation style to all the characters. There's a lot of depth and things and stuff and blah blah blah. But what is the game? You know what? I don't really know. I still feel like I'm playing the tutorial. I've spent at least 4 hours in the game, and I'm still kind of building stuff, and I've moved past this point, and I have 3 souls on my vessel now, But is that the game? Am I like halfway through the game? Am I just at the beginning of the game? I have no idea. I don't know, but it's good. Alright, moving on to Cloudpunk. Now, anybody who loves their Blade Runner-y, cyberpunk-y worlds is probably going to like this at least a little bit. The problem with the game is that it is all courier missions. You're just delivering stuff. You're going from point A to point B over and over again. There is a very interesting and intricate world that has been built here, and I do appreciate it, but you know, for the fairly short campaign it was, I wouldn't even say it was 20 hours. It might be much less than that. It could be 10 hours. But I really enjoyed it, but it did feel short. And it did feel like there wasn't quite enough world building in there, maybe. But it's pretty damn good, man. I would say it's a great game, really. I really like it. But I know a lot of people won't, because this is what you're doing. You're driving your car through the Blade Runner streets, and then you're delivering the package to the hole. But these characters like Camus, I love Camus so much. He is so good, and you run into all these really colorful characters that are just fun to listen to, and they really excite you and keep you excited for playing the next mission, and it becomes almost addictive. And then of course there is kind of a main through plot with Cora here, who is this AI underneath the city. This isn't really spoilers. They talk about it from the beginning of the game. But really what it is it's kind of a lot of little stories built in one world that connect each other, or connect to each other. You're not really playing one story, you're playing a lot of little stories. But it's pretty great. Check out Cloudpunk. Alright, and the last game of the night, I thought I was going to play more Nier Replicant, but apparently that did not leave extra. Like, it said it was leaving last month, but it's still playable. So I thought I would focus on this game that actually did leave. It's Star Ocean: The Divine Force, and guess what? I really liked it, and the reason is because right after I beat Crisis Core, I was kind of like going through withdrawals for that kind of game, because I play so many first-person shooters and other things like that. And I was like, man, I wish I had something just like Crisis Core again to play on a nightly basis. And this is it, man. It plays almost exactly the same. I mean, instead of limit breaks, you got the flying attacks. But yeah, if you like Crisis Core or that style of game, here you go. Enjoy. The story doesn't make any sense. The world is really weird. I don't know what's going on. Kind of like Crisis Core, but you know. But quality and this upgrade system is really wonderful and old school. Reminds me of like the original Ratchet and Clank, weirdly, upgrading systems. It's real simple but really cool. Yeah, like I said, overall the story's kind of like, I don't know where it's going. But yeah, I had fun playing it, and I really enjoyed my time with it. And it's weird because it says this game came out in like 2020 or 2022, and it looks like it's from PS3, and all the Star Ocean games look like throwback games, so I'm not sure if they're remasters or if they're just like throwbacky stylistically. But there you go, Star Ocean: The Divine Force. Check it out. Alright, there you go, everybody. That's all the games I have played recently on PS Extra. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed that, and good night.